Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuro-encoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuro-encoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. So today I have a good friend, Dominika Staniewicz, on today, and she's been on before, of course, so it's a special treat. So wanted to just give a little information on Dominika. Coach D, just so you know, I couldn't help. I had to do it. Can't help it. So Dominika is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist. She's a renowned author. She's celebrated for her work in helping people overcome overwhelm, ADHD, depression, and anxiety. And we're going to dive deep into that today. Mental health expert specializing in providing practical tools for managing stress, anxiety, and other mental health concerns. And I only want to talk about goal setting strategies because it's the professional here. So Coach D, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Well, first of all, I'm excited to be your guest again, and I'm excited to speak with you after you've achieved the milestone of 5,000 downloads. Congratulations to you. That's a huge step. So you guys, you got to listen to Michael, and especially if you're in the veteran space, spouses, children, or you're a veteran, he is your guy. He's your guy. He's phenomenal. So who am I? Well, I'm your brain coach D, and Coach D, popular kind of way of saying, because nobody can pronounce my name for some unknown reason. I'm also a corporate trainer and a brain health coach. And of course, dual elite neuroencoding specialist with, 2, 3 stars, whatever the stars I have. I have a lot of stars. I'm a star. And I just received a phenomenal award for me from the Neuroencoding Institute, from my peers. It's called the Astitude Award. I love this. And I celebrated it with Breastitude, which means it was an award in the number of votes in categories of leadership, support, and some other 5 categories that I don't remember. But basically, I got the most votes in all the categories. And it was such an honor to be recognized for things I do for my peers and other people, that they see it. And that was so important to me. It actually broke down a lot of my limiting beliefs. And I'm super grateful. And that's my most prized award when it comes to years. So what do? I use neuroscience to transform your life. I hack your psychology with biology, because believe it or not everything in your life is about you. It is your brain that's malfunctioning, or it's not optimized. So we optimize your brain for peak performance, so you can actually design and create your brain in a way that's going to serve you and go with you, not against you. And I think that's absolutely fantastic, because I have found that people who've been in therapy for years leave my site within 6 to 9 months, and they're on their merry way. They're doing good. No more need for medication or, stressful nights, waking up, sweating, or having heart palpitations. And the approach with the neuroencoding, brain science, and everything else allows for a targeted approach where you're an individual. And that works for companies and, individual people, because we provide trainings, neuroscience-based trainings for corporations. Imagine you could pay less to your people and they would be more motivated. Isn't that amazing?
That's just craziness.
I know.
Craziness. So we're going to dive into that. So really quick, thank you for going through that. I want to just explain really quick on the top right-hand corner. I'm going to point the wrong way. No, I'm not. I did it right, finally. Blue QR code on the top right corner there. Scan that. If you're listening on podcast forums later on, it's empowerperformancestrategies.com. Again, empowerperformancestrategies.com. There are all kinds of resources, Facebook groups for veterans and their families. Please be part of our community. Join us. And again, there's some free ebooks and so forth for you there. So let's dive in, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's provide some value because everybody's time is very valuable. And thank you for taking the time to listen to us. That means a lot to me, and I'm sure it does also to Michael.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for saying that. So let's start with neuroencoding for people that are new to the podcast and have never seen the other 80 episodes or whatever it's been. So, how does neuroencoding differ from traditional methods in helping overcome, especially feelings of anxiety and depression, stress, those kinds of things? Let's start with that perspective, shall we?
Absolutely. So neuroencoding is a method of rewiring your brain, specific exercises and practices, and you become an actor in your life. You practice before it happens, and then you have the tool to just snap it off and cut the devil's and the monster's head when it's showing up, because you've practiced, you've recognized it, and now you know, oh, this is what's happening. That's how I'm going to end it. And the feelings start subsiding. And in neuroscience, what happens is when you have, very often you default to a behavior, those neural pathways are very thick, but the less you do it, they become smaller and smaller and smaller, and they stop dominating your life, and you become free of anxiety, depression, anger, PTSD, and other feelings that are not serving you.
Excellent. So kill the monster when it's small, right? So let's talk about that really quick. So when you first start feeling that anxiety about, let's just bring up something. Let's say it's you just got out of the military, you're heading home, and you're stressed out. You don't know what to expect. You're anxious, that kind of stuff, and you're just feeling it, right, in your body, your physiology, and so on. Give us a couple thoughts or tips on the fastest way to snap out of that.
Okay, well, first, as we said, you need to become practical. You need to become an actor in your life. You need to have rehearsals so you know how that feeling feels. So what we're going to teach you, and I'm not going to give you the whole scope of how to do it, but I'm going to give you the idea how it works. You practice on purpose feeling horrible and you feel anxiety. And then when you feel that, you literally physically change your state. You stand up, you move, you jump up, whatever you need to do, and you just change that feeling, change that situation. You say something that is important to you, and you force yourself to feel different. And you practice that in certain patterns, certain numbers. There is science to it. Another thing you can do is, I invite you, if you have often panic attacks and anxiety attacks, please have lemons with you. Please have lemons with you hanging around. So what happens is, it's, although people were saying, you need to meditate, don't meditate. When your brain is busy with that fear, with that anxiety, with that stress, no meditation is going to work because your brain is already busy. You're not, just period. So we can do breath of life, or we can do a lemon. And lemon is, you just have a regular lemon. And what you do, you bite on it. And the strong sensation breaks the thought and the emotion automatically, because your brain goes, oh my God, something is happening. I need to pay attention to that. That gives you a break to consciously choose a different thought and feel different. Go for a walk, jump up, whatever else you need to do. And again, we create strategies especially for you, because not every strategy works for everybody. Sure. Breath of life is also pretty good. So it's not a breathing technique. It's not when you're panicking, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. No, that's too long. We need something quick and immediate to break that cycle. And breath of life would be one of those. So you take quick breaths, 2 quick breaths in on top of each other. And what happens is your lungs and oxygenation expands, it goes to your brain, and your brain calms down just for a few seconds, enough, for example, to turn to your friend or call a friend and say, hey, I'm not doing well. We will train your friend then to talk about, for example, unicorns and rainbows and peeing with glitter, whatever is necessary.
You did not say that.
But guess what? Because it's so abstract and it goes, huh? What? And you literally forget. Absolutely. It's like the mechanism is the same one as you go to a kitchen, you have a plan to do something, you go and you're like, what the hell did I come here for? You broke the thought pattern. Yes. So we use that skill of your brain that you have naturally to serve you and to break the patterns that happen in your head without your consent. Basically, your brain decides how it feels. And that's just the beginning of the road, because then later on we will rewire those pathways, rewire that brain, so your brain doesn't do that anymore, and you can be free of those feelings that can be extremely debilitating.
Yeah, and creating that pattern interrupt, and of course, the scotoma is so important for putting in the good stuff, right? Will you talk about that just for a second?
Okay. So scotoma is actually a description we use, but biologically and neurologically, it actually refers to your eyesight, not your brain. But it's a great explanation of an empty space in your head where you just go and out of the blue, your head is empty and you don't know what to do. Now, because thoughts happen automatically, because we were never taught to control our thoughts, they just run, they just overtake you. Those are called ANT, automatic negative thoughts, and the persistent thoughts. All of those happen, and you did not choose that, I guarantee you. But because we teach you how to create that empty space, in that empty space, your brain is kind of lost, which is a good thing. And then we force it into your brain something that is either abstract or positive. Why? Because biochemically, every thought has an assigned chain of chemicals. Those chemicals create feelings. They are released into your body, and then your body has a sensation. Thoughts are chemicals, literally. Well, the chemicals. So if we stop the release of these chemicals or prevent them or lower the intensity, you will feel different. And that biological pattern is how we break your psychology pattern through neuroscience.
Fantastic. And it's super important for people to understand that doing these exercises, they're easy exercises. And as long as you do them and train your brain and create new neural pathways, etc., it really changes the game for you. And it takes some time, but it's really simple. There's simple exercises to do this, So and thank you for the way you're explaining it, because it really explains it in perfect detail, as far as what it's doing, and the way you talk about the lemon, and it's super easy to understand it. So thank you for making it very easy, because it is neuroscience after all.
It is. And what I specialize in, and I love doing for people, is taking the, complicated science of basal ganglia, anterior cingulate, and all of those, things that happen in your brain, how your brain works, taking that and making it usable. I love science that we can use. There's a lot of science we can't do anything with. And it's, can I say this? It's my friend called it's a mental masturbation. When you
You
talk
said
about
it.
that, you cannot use it. And that's exactly what it is. And I know it's very blunt, but the truth is, we want our lives better. We really don't care about science that is just to talk about. Some people do, but it's a very small amount. And all of us suffer with PTSD or anxiety or stress or anger management and other things. And what we have found that outside of neuroscience, it's also biology. If your brain, the organ, is not functioning properly, and if you have, for example, lack of oxygenation, lack of nutrients, and a lot of other things that I could go into, but I'm not going to, then it results in psychology. Psychology is the result. The new studies have shown, for example, on depression, that depression can be in 7 places in your brain, but outside the result presents the same. You don't feel like doing anything, you're apathetic, you don't want to get out of bed. But guess what? Depending which part of your brain this is in, it will be treated and approached differently. It's biology that results in psychology and behavior. And we have been dismissing that, not because we were ignorant, but because we didn't have the knowledge. Now we do. And we can literally cut down the time of human suffering. How amazing is that?
Absolutely fantastic. So let's talk about that, shall we?
No,
So, yeah, okay, hold on. What are we going to talk about then? No.
that's
Um,
okay.
she just did a pattern interrupt on me, just FYI. So, if we can talk more about, and I know you're passionate about this, the brain and the brain chemicals, and even more so, all of the drugs that we're getting pumped into us. And I'm not saying, everybody, disclaimer right now, I'm not saying go jump off your medications because Coach D said do this. Okay, so you know, take it in. You want more information, reach out to her for sure. But I want to talk about that some more. So, with the brain health specifically. So I know that you've had great success with, ADHD and different things like that, getting people off medications. And I know your own story as well. So can we talk a little bit about what brought you into that realm, first of all? And even more so, what are some steps people can be taking when they're done with popping the pill to feel better, because it doesn't actually solve the problem, and it's usually the underlying problem.
So we're going to start with this, that one of the things that Dr. Daniel Amen, who trained me, said is that, and his belief, and I actually agree with that belief, is that, for example, depression should not be a diagnosis, should be treated as a symptom of brain not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Your brain is an organ, and every part of your brain is so beautifully designed to do certain things. And sometimes, because we got hit when we were a kid, we played basketball, we played soccer with our head, we played football, we had a car accident, you had micro tensions in the brain. It hit, and it's as soft as soft butter, and you have the ridges in the skull got hit, and it got smashed. And what happens is different parts of your brain might have taken over, but that part of your brain is not working well. Chemicals like marijuana, unfortunately, stop the blood flow to the brain. And it's not true that it's going to help you relax. Overall, it creates more anxiety. It creates fear of feeling how you felt before marijuana. So you become addicted because of fear. Anyway, brain health is actually the reason why you experience life the way you do. Because if it was working great, you would not experience anxiety. If it was working great, you would not experience PTSD. We have scans of people where PTSD literally changes how brain functions, and we can see it on scans that the wiring changed.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Yes. And one of the things that I highly recommend for any veteran, please find money to do this with me or anybody else who does it. Do EMDR on trauma. It is non-invasive, phenomenally works on trauma and any type of emotional event where we need to connect those two hemispheres. And it's non-invasive, does not require medications, about 12 sessions, and people experience exponential improvement in their perception, lack of depression, lack of anxiety, lack of PTSD symptoms. And of course, nothing works on everybody. And if you are on medication, please keep taking the medication until you start working with a person and you feel an improvement with a brain coach like me or Michael or anybody else. Keep taking the medication, rewire your brain, feel the improvement, and then go to your doctor and talk to your doctor saying, hey, I feel better. Can we try lower the doses? Do not take yourself off medication if you're there. But if you haven't started taking the medication, we have found that the methods with EMDR, biofeedback, hyperbaric oxygenating chamber, and other things, plus the type of support we offer, me and Michael, it has been 80 to 90% successful to keep people off medication or keep them on the smallest possible doses, because what we do has less side effects or no side effects. And that is so important. It's like kind of you say you want to run a marathon, but you have heart problems. You can keep wanting run a marathon, but you're not going to run it because that might be dangerous to your life. We need to look at your heart, fix your heart, and then start training for the marathon. The same with your brain. Your brain is an organ. You need to love it, because guess what? Your brain decides who you marry, what business decisions you're making. Your brain decides how you're going to react in a situation. Are you going to get triggered? And it decided without you. That's the horrible thing. It's like this teenager that does whatever it wants and there's no control over it. Well, it's time to become an adult and take care of your teenager in your head and start putting some ground rules and help the teenager grow up. And we all went through it. I'm a smartass right now because I've went through those trainings. I've worked on those things. So I'm fully aware. And at the same time, self-regulation, we kept talking about this in science and in psychology, but self-regulation is dependent. So for example, you have been hit in a frontal lobe on the left side, and Nothing happened. You were just heavily hit, you hit your head over, I don't know, corner kind of bed, wherever. Do you know that they have found very often that on the left side frontal lobe, within months, people start being aggressive. It was a strong hit because of the damage to the brain. And it's not your personality. Your personality is the result of your brain health. So we need to address the brain health. We need to make sure that this part of your brain we can regenerate, and your brain can regenerate with food, practices, exercises, neuron coding, supplements, and everything else. It takes practice, and the personality can go back to normal. There are things like Ritalin people take for ADHD, but there are natural supplements they can try first that do the same as Ritalin does. Not everybody can do that, but if you are not on the medication, give it a try. It's much cheaper, much healthier. And if it works, why not? If it doesn't, you can always take the medication.
Can you mention some of those, please? And again, just like Coach D said, if you are on medication, don't just switch. But if you're not yet and have some of those symptoms, potentially try these first.
Absolutely. And, medication is important because medication saves lives. So if you ever hear somebody saying, oh, all medication is bad, absolutely not. I take medication. I'll be taking medication for the rest of my life. I'm epileptic, right? And my epilepsy is genetic. But because of brain health practices, because of neuron coding, I haven't had a seizure, grand mal seizure with the full force, of shaking and eyes rolling and forgetting everything in 8 years. Because of this, out of 2,000 units of medication, I'm only on 500 units of medication. Because of this, my EEG is normal. So one of the things Dr. Amen says is that the fact that you're genetically predisposed and you have a gene, it doesn't mean the gene will activate. Your environment is the activator. That's what we learn. So what you surround yourself with, what you eat, people you surround yourself with, TV that you watch, series that you watch, the true crime, very bad for your brain. And a lot of people love it because it gives them an adrenaline boost and it gives them a dopamine boost. But guess what? That's an addiction. That's actually not good for you. And although it sounds exciting, it's actually hurting you. So being aware of those things and adjusting your environment to serve you so you don't have to trigger the gene expression. I'm also the only person in my family, I have an obesity gene. I'm the only person in my family that's not obese, because of the choices I've made. And I'm not super healthy, but I'm definitely not obese. And I'm the only person without a gastric bypass because I did not let my environment influence and create the gene expression that I did have. So we're talking about different medication, and there's Ritalin, there's Adderall. There are supplements that do the same thing as they do, but they're much less invasive. And of course, if you're on a spectrum somewhere very, very far, probably, working with a psychiatrist and finding the right dosage is great. But the problem with medication is that if you don't do anything on top of that, like coaching and rewiring of your brain and learning new things, that medication, that dose will stop being effective. And you'll go up. And guess what? And then you'll end up with side effects and plenty of other medication that they'll put on top to offset the side effects that you have from the other medication.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy how that works. I mean, people that, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it's really important people really focus on what you're saying right now, because how many times have one thing caused side effects that, oh, we'll take this medication on top of that. Oh, take this one to counteract the constipation. Oh, take this one to counteract the stomach acid issues you now have. Take this one, for the facial breakouts, whatever the case may be. Again, apologize for the interruption, but it's super important that you work the other things that Coach D is talking about right now and not just keep piling on different medications, because again, there's a root of the problem and that needs to be addressed. So please continue though.
Absolutely. So basically, yes, keep taking the medication, but the moment you do start working on things that will allow your brain to get better, and you will feel better. If that requires diet change or whatever else, every person is different. It's not about demonizing medication, because it's like, I will never get off medication, right? But I was able to bring it down to 500 units instead of 2,000 because of my brain health improvement. And that's a success. And that's a great success. It's not about not doing it. It's doing the best version for you. And that might be also using all the other knowledge from neuroscience, nutrition, and everything else that we have, and what triggers your brain. With that being said, if you go, for example, if you're starting perimenopause, yay, me and other women 40 and up, I feel so sorry for you ladies and for everybody who's around us when we're going through this. We apologize on behalf of all women, but we have nothing. It's kind of a biology thing. There's nothing we can do about that besides helping our brain to get healthier, to taking care of our hormones. And you can do HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, but you can also go with supplements and change your routines, change the number of sleep, and it does improve quality of your life. Now, there's about 15% of women that just have horrible 10 years of their life, and that is not probably manageable with natural methods, and they need medical support. But the same thing with you gentlemen, right? There are so many men that are complaining about low testosterone. If you're young, do not go on T. Do not. Start with diet changes, food changes, supplements, and everything else that helps your body to redo it. If that doesn't work within 6 months to a year and you have done it religiously, then consider going on a permanent, because if you start taking it once, you're never getting off of it. That's the challenge with testosterone. But those hormones influence how your brain functions. When they were testing out HRT on me with testosterone, they gave me too big of a dose and I gained a new respect for men. I was pissed off all the time and I was about to rip everybody's heads off. And I was thinking, like, do men have to manage that level of anger and being annoyed all the time?
Not with neuroencoding.
Not with neuroencoding. But if they do, your life sucks. With that being said, neuroscience is applicable in so many areas, and neuroencoding and brain health, and it's applicable towards also businesses, right? How do you teach people to reduce stress, anger, and anxiety in a workplace? Because every time they experience that, the communication drops, their brain productivity drops, which productivity of the workforce drops, relationships change, and all of those things are connected. What if we could just target the neuroscience-based information and change everything, give people the tools so they can actually get better and they can actually create great environment, because the environment is dependent on your brain health and how you function in the environment. So this is such a beautiful topic to talk about, and I know I could talk for it forever, but neuroscience-based trainings are coming into the world, and neuroscience-based coaching is also here. And it just shortens the time to the result. I mean, if you can win within 6 months to a year instead of 10 years, wouldn't you take that chance?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. For me, just for instance, I bit my fingernails bloody, like down to the core. Didn't even realize I was doing it half the time since I was like 5 years old. And since doing neuroencoding, I mean, I have nails.
Ooh, look at those sexy nails. Show us the nails. Show us the proof.
I'm not now.
Well, they're not big, so it is definitely proof.
It's crazy. It's and I use two different little techniques, one from Tony Robbins and one from neuroencoding, to combine them into my own little, because you know me, I make my own little exercises. But it works, and that's the beautiful thing. So we're almost out of time here because God knows it goes way too quick. So I want you to, if you can, because we always do this at the end of the show, give us 3 tips, because we didn't get into a lot of stuff because we just went as we normally do, but give us 3 tips to get veterans and their families further faster. They're dealing with anxiety, stress, all of those things that all humans deal with. But, again, veterans, they're conditioned to not ask for help. They're conditioned to figure it out for themselves. Let's get them further faster. Give us 3 tips.
Exercise. That's number 1. Yes. 2, at least 20 to 30 minutes walking in nature. Being surrounded with no sound, no music, nobody talking, just you and the nature, and walking, not necessarily running. And concentrating on a leaf, on a bird, on anything else but what your head is trying to do. Another tip I have is definitely the lemon, which we spoke about, to break the anxiety and panic attack. Another one is the stop technique we spoke about, definitely worth using and learning. And I would add probably a question from that we use with brain health. It's, is it true? Is it really true? So notice that when we listen to people and we listen to experts, we always start questioning what they're saying. Oh, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I heard this, I heard that, blah, 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 blah. Well, we don't do that to our own thoughts. And I would invite you to question your own thoughts and put them on the spot. Treat them as the false expert that you believe them to be. So anytime you use words like always, never, sometimes, everyone, everything, ask yourself, is it true? Like, I will never get this done. Is it true? How do I know that it's true? And how would I feel if I could achieve this? And just for every thought that you have, which is not serving you, start asking yourself, is it true? Is it really true? Okay. What proof that I have it's not true? Well, I've achieved things before. Well, yesterday I've done something that I didn't feel like doing, and day before that. So is it always true that I don't achieve? Well, no, it's not always true. Okay, so how would I feel if I think I could achieve this? Well, I would feel really good. So what you do, it's not necessarily changing your state, but you're breaking apart the pattern of thinking that you have, and you put doubt. When we put doubt, it's a technique we use actually for convincing. When you put doubt in your head, what your head does is starts to look for proof that the new idea is also true. And it diminishes the strength of the chemicals released for the feelings that you're experiencing when you're thinking those things. So they're not as strong. So it's not getting rid of it, but lowering the intensity. That also helps.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. That is one of the best tips ever. Exercise, obviously. I love the lemon. And you know, it's so, our brain tells us all these false truths to protect ourselves, as well as save energy and all that fun stuff. And that alone changes the game, that tip. So thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that. Coach D, is always, my friend, amazing to have you on the show. Thank you for being here. How do people reach out to you if they want to reach you?
Absolutely. Well, if you're an individual or a corporation, please go yourbraincoachd.com, and that's my website. You can also go to Your Brain Coach D on Facebook, Your Brain Coach D on YouTube, and Your Brain Coach D on LinkedIn, and Your Brain Coach D on every other platform that there exists. It's very unanimous, so I'm not hard to find. Dominika Staniewicz also works. I'm open to chatting with you guys, supporting you, and seeing how we can get you further faster. Instead of years of work, cut it down to the shorter possible period of time. Absolutely
love it. Coach D, as always, you know, time, most valuable resource we have as humans. We don't get it back. So thank you for the time we always spend just friends, but thank you for the time that you spent with our audience here today. It's greatly appreciated.
Pleasure. Hope you guys, use one thing and let us know what you use, what worked for you, and spread the word. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with people who might need it, because knowledge should not be, harnessed and kept in one place. It should be shared and then practiced, because knowledge that is in your head is worthless. When you use it, it makes a difference. So use it, abuse it, and as our mentor Joseph McClendon III says, our personal coach, he says, abuse us and use us like a rented mule.
I love it. And on that note, we're out of here.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.